Breaking at 5, suspect takedown. The week-long manhunt ending in an Omaha backyard.
The maximum penalty is life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Molly Tibbetts' suspected killer goes to court. He led investigators to her body. And tonight, the place he worked is still shell-shocked.
That's when I knew that our employee was the suspect.
Plus, nuclear cargo.
Gloves, glove boxes, pipe wrenches, torque wrenches.
The big rigs that'll travel next to you on the interstate.
Live from Omaha's news leader, KETV NewsWatch 7 at 5 starts with breaking news.
A dangerous fugitive is off the streets tonight.
Police capturing him in the very same area where they think he shot a man, and only KETV NewsWatch 7 was there. Taylor Barth is live tonight with the breaking details.
The scene is mostly clear now. You can see 2 Omaha police cruisers remain on scene here. Around 3:30 this afternoon, Omaha police arrested Seneca Polite, the man wanted for shooting another man in the face in this very same neighborhood last week. Witnesses say police tased Polite multiple times before arresting him on a felony assault charge. OPD tells us officers recognized Polite in the passenger seat of this silver Chevy SUV. Officers tracked the plates and determined they may be headed to this area. Multiple cruisers and officers responded, also taking the driver of the SUV into custody and finding 2 firearms in the vehicle. Omaha police asked for the public's help locating Polite on Sunday, saying he was considered armed and dangerous. They believe he shot 34-year-old Antoine Williams in the face on August 13th. Williams ran to the Mega Saver a couple blocks away, and Omaha police believe Polite may be involved in other recent shootings in Omaha. Reporting live, Taylor Barth, KETV NewsWatch 7.
So sad. It's so wrong. You know, she had so much to give.
The reality that Molly Tibbetts is never coming home is slowly setting in for those who knew and loved her. In a statement tonight, the Tibbetts family says simply, "Our hearts are broken."
The man who led police to Molly's body yesterday morning, well, this afternoon, he walked into court, shackled and led by a Poweshiek County, Iowa deputy.
KETV NewsWatch 7's Chin Doan is live with the new details.
And right now, Christian Bahina Rivera is jailed on a $5 million cash-only bond. Rivera's attorney argues that's not fair since there's been no evidence his client committed a crime. The man charged in the death of Molly Tibbetts enters the courtroom with his private attorney and 2 translators.
Sir, are you Mr. Christian Bahina Rivera?
24-year-old Christian Bahina Rivera had been held since Tuesday on a $1 million cash-only bond after being charged with first-degree murder. Wednesday, his attorney asked the judge to exclude media coverage of this case.
It could be just one nod of the head, one glance, one sleight of hand that will be partially taken out of context.
The judge denied that request, and the hearing continued with the state asking for Rivera to be held on a $5 million cash-only bond.
We think it is appropriate, given the severity of the charge, his immigration status, at least as it's been described to me, and the fact that what he's accused of obviously is a very heinous crime.
Rivera's attorney says his client came to the United States as a minor and had only a middle school education.
As a young man, he's been working for a number of years for a respectable person in this community, no prior criminal record. He sits here presumed innocent. There's been no evidence at all introduced to the court.
Now, government officials suspect Rivera is undocumented, but his lawyer says he had the proper papers to work in the country. Rivera's next court date is August 31st. Back to you.
All right, Chin, thank you. The place where the suspect worked clarifies its statement from last night.
Yarby Farm says it did not vet Christian Rivera through E-Verify. Instead, it used the Social Security Administration. Dang Lang says his family knew Rivera by a different name, but he wouldn't elaborate, citing the investigation. Yesterday afternoon, he realized the man in the mugshot had a familiar face.
I learned that our employee was the suspect when everyone else found out yesterday.
Lang described Rivera as a good employee who got along with his coworkers and showed up to work on time. Well, the crime scene spanned acres. In the miles of cornfields, investigators focused on one spot.
They're gone today. Now, Molly's hometown of Brooklyn, Iowa, has to try and move on. Most of the missing signs that have lined walls and yards for more than a month are taken down now, except this one. Some of the Tibbetts' neighbors changed the sign to ask a question so many are struggling to answer. Why?
I think it's changed everybody everywhere who's heard the story, because now, you know, even communities that are 50 and 60 miles away from us are watching their children closer.
Molly would have started her second year at the University of Iowa this week as a psychology major. Tonight, students will hold a vigil in her memory on campus. That starts at 7 o'clock. There's also a vigil happening in Brooklyn, her hometown, starting at 6.
Investigators think Molly's killer snapped in a fit of rage, and some experts here at home say it may have stemmed from a form of toxic masculinity that society tends to project onto young men and boys. You will hear from them later in this newscast. World News Tonight also has continuing coverage from today's hearing. That starts at 5:30.
Well, you see big rigs rolling down the interstates every day. Most times you don't know what they're hauling.
And you might not guess some trucks are carrying radioactive waste. Exclusive here at 5, KETV NewsWatch 7's Camilla Ortiz got a look at the huge tanks that will soon haul decades-old nuclear waste through Nebraska and Iowa.
I'm James Mason with U.S. Department of Energy.
U.S. government officials introducing themselves to state health and emergency management groups at the Waverly Way Station. The crowd gathering by not your typical semi.
When you mention radiological material or nuclear material, people's antennas go up.
These TruPack steel cylinders will be carrying waste left over from nuclear weapons manufacturing from the 50s and 60s.
The waste that was generated was caps, gloves, and gowns that just happened to be contaminated with plutonium because of the type of facilities and the work that they were doing.
Over the next year, 5 shipments from Chicago will travel via I-80 through Nebraska to the disposal site in New Mexico. State troopers walking the public through the elevated safety standards these carriers have to meet.
100% or you fail.
Every lug nut and tension measurement has to be just right, down to the millimeter.
If they're out of tolerance that much, this container does not go.
The containers themselves undergoing extensive testing before use.
They've dropped them from 30 feet onto a concrete pad. They drop them onto a steel rod, make sure they don't puncture.
Lieutenant Governor Mike Foley confident in the system.
It's very reassuring to hear how rigorous the whole process is. This is probably the safest truck going down the highway.
So do all those safety procedures work? Well, I'm told more than 12,000 shipments like these have been made since 1999 with no incidents. Reporting in Waverly, Camilla Ortiz, KETV Newswatch 7.
All right, Camilla, thank you. And we go live outside at 5. Some of the best weather in the country. Sunny skies and temps in the 70s.
Yeah, but only one guy can call it a top 10 day. Chief Meteorologist Bill Ranby is live. Bill, what do you say?
Oh, Alexander David. Well, in my opinion, it is one of the top 10 days of the year for outdoor activity right here in the Omaha Metro. Take a live look at downtown, the Old Market, Embassy Suites on 10th Street. No more perfect temperature than 77, and that is what we have right now at Omaha's Epley Airfield. 77 degrees, and the air is dry. Dew points are in the low 50s. No rain on Super Doppler 7 radar. Very comfortable again tonight. But a big change coming here. Cloudy with rain Thursday, and then hot weather by the weekend. So get outside this evening if you can. Another 77 at 6 o'clock. Temperatures dropping off into the 60s by 10. Alexandra.
All right, Bill, thanks. Nebraska's Department of Ag says the emerald ash borer has spread to Lincoln and Fremont. The tree-killing bug infestation now has been linked to several Nebraska and Iowa counties. Ash trees in Douglas and Sarpy counties remain under quarantine since the beetle was first discovered in 2016.
Developing here at 5, paramedics rush a 1-year-old to the hospital in critical condition after a near drowning. Happened in a bathtub in this house near 24th and Mary Streets. Right now, we don't have an update on that baby's condition. From Mills County, Iowa, prosecutors charge an elementary teacher and cross-country coach with sexual abuse. Court documents say 39-year-old Christopher Urban abused and exploited a girl at least twice in the last year while employed with the East Mills School District. He faces a felony third-degree sexual abuse charge and 2 counts of sexual exploitation by a school employee. In court today, a judge gave him a $14,000 bond. The district superintendent says he placed Irvin on paid leave.
The second suspect charged with murdering a man at the Buc-ee's at 30th and Dodge is being held without bond. Saturnino Covarrubias is back in Douglas County after being extradited here from Sioux City. Andrew Peak died in the August 12th attack, shot while pumping gas. Well, right now, a man is in the hospital after getting shot in the chest overnight. Doctors say 31-year-old Joshua Holland should survive. It happened at 33rd and Pratt just after 1. Police tell us Holland ran from the scene after getting shot. Officers found a white SUV connected to the crime, but there's no word on any arrests.
Someone living in Douglas County died from West Nile virus complications. That news came out today from the county health department, which reported 10 confirmed cases just last week. Experts tell us the person who died was over the age of 65 and had other health concerns. The Nebraska State Patrol helicopter searched the air for a 90-year-old man who went missing near Fremont this morning. They found Charles Folsom's vehicle in Dodge County, but so far still no sign of him. Call 911 if you know where he might be. Breaking from Chicago tonight, the Democratic National Committee says it stopped a hack attempt on a database that holds voter information for millions of people.
No word on who's responsible. Russian hackers broke into the servers and revealed email messages sent during the 2016 presidential campaign.
Well, the man who won that campaign dealing with a former attorney who just took a plea with prosecutors. The legal fallout for the president next at 5.
Plus, a helicopter crash at a police training center. Why the pilot lost control. Right now, a look at rush hour traffic, things moving along there on West Dodge. We're back with Bill's full forecast after the break.